Welcome to Cooking with Bryan Dixon. What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Cooking with Bryan Dixon. On today's show, we are going to be making a dish that I've come up with and that I think is a very delicious dish. It's called Risotto Gumbo. Risotto is definitely a rice dish that does take a little bit of time, but if you do it right and you watch it, it'll come out fantastic. So, first things first, let's get some prep going. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to small dice an onion. I know it seems like I use a lot of onions in my dishes, but I promise you this time it is needed. So if you're not a big fan of onions, then maybe only use half of the onion, but definitely use the onion and small dice it because it is definitely needed to make risotto. So once you go ahead and you small dice your onion, then we're going to go ahead and set it to the side. And what we're going to do next is we're going to start getting the rest of our ingredients together to saute after our rice is done. That is going to go into the rice. So we'll set the onions to the side. First ingredient I'm going to use is going to be smoked sausage. So I usually use a whole pack. I'll split them in half and then I'll go ahead and I will small dice them. And once that is done, I'll go ahead and bowl those up and get ready for my next ingredient. Next, I'm going to use shrimp. Now, the shrimp that I'm going to use are deveined and pre-cooked shrimp. That way you are just pretty much warming them up once you go ahead and saute them. So I go ahead and just take off the tails, split them up to make a little bit more, and go ahead and get those bowled up. Next, we're going to medium dice one red onion. Now, all these ingredients are going to wilt down as you saute them. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and medium dice this onion, place it in a bowl, and set it to the side with the rest of the ingredients. Next, we're going to use red and green peppers. What I like to do is use as much of the pepper as possible. So I'll save the bottoms, I'll save the top, I will core the middle, and then once I'm done, I will go ahead and dice up both peppers to a medium dice. That way, as they cook down, they'll still be a nice size, but they won't be as crunchy or as hard, and they'll be a little smaller than they originally started out before you saute them. Once we get those medium dice, then we'll go ahead and bowl those up and we'll set those to the side. So now that we got all of our ingredients all cut up and prepped up and ready to go, we'll go ahead and get started with the risotto. Once we get our risotto going, then we'll go ahead and start sauteing all of our other ingredients to get them ready to go into the risotto when it's finished. First thing I do is I'm going to make sure that I get my chicken stock warm. I like to warm mine up on the stove and ladle it in as we go. So what you want to do is get your pan on a low to medium heat. Add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then you want to go ahead and get your onions in there and get those sauteing. You're going to want to go ahead and cook your onions for about 5 to 8 minutes. You're not trying to caramelize your onions. You just want to get them to a nice translucent state. So like I stated, cook them for about 5 to 8 minutes. And once you do that, they should be about ready. And then the next thing you want to do is go ahead and add your garlic mixture. Use about a tablespoon of garlic. You want to get that in there and get your garlic sauteed. It's only going to take about a minute because garlic cooks really fast. So you'll just want to get that incorporated in there. And once you get that in there and you get that garlic smell, you'll want to go ahead and add in your rice. So I'm going to go ahead and add in about 4 cups of a boiled rice. And once you get your rice in there, now you just want to stir that around and cook that on a medium heat for about 3 to 4 minutes. What you're looking for is you want your rice to go from a white color to a nice tannish color. Once it has a little bit of a tint to it, then you'll know that your rice is fully incorporated in everything, and you'll want to go ahead and add in your liquid. Now in this recipe I used about 8 cups of stock. That may differ for you, but you just want to make sure you have enough stock so that you can finish the dish and your rice is going to be completely cooked. So now that I've got my rice just about where I want it to be, I'm going to start adding my liquid. So I add 4 cups of chicken stock to get started, and I'll start to stir that up. You want to make sure you just keep stirring so it doesn't stick. And as your rice absorbs all that liquid, you want to just keep the same process going. Make sure you taste it. Make sure you want your rice just a little bit al dente. You don't want it crunchy, but you definitely want it nice and soft. And when you're done and everything is finished, it should come out looking a little like this. Next, we'll add the ingredients to our risotto with 1/8 of a cup of basil, a tablespoon of cayenne pepper, 1/4 cup of onion powder, a 1/4 cup of garlic salt, 1/8 of a cup of Italian seasoning, and 1 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. And we'll get all of those ingredients mixed in with our risotto. If you don't like spicy food, a tablespoon of cayenne might be a lot, so what you'll want to do is just reduce that down to a teaspoon so you don't have a whole lot of heat in your dish. So once you've got your seasonings incorporated inside of your risotto, now it's time to go ahead and get your other ingredients sauteed. So you'll want to get you a pot on medium heat, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You want to grab your peppers and your onions, and you want to go ahead and get those sauteed up. You want to cook them long enough to where they're going to be a little softer than they originally start out to be, but not too wilted down. You want to add a little bit of seasoning. I like to add onion powder, a little bit of garlic powder, and some Italian seasoning so that when they're done cooking, they have a nice flavor. Once I add the seasonings to them, I'll go ahead and I'll add in my sausage, and I'll add in my shrimp as well. And I'll go ahead and cook all those ingredients together, making sure that they are all nice and soft and cooked down and seasoned up well. And once I've got them cooked long enough to my liking, then I'll go ahead and add them to my risotto mixture. So now it's time to go ahead and add it to the risotto. That looks nice. Once you get everything incorporated into your pot, you'll go ahead and give it a few stirs, getting all your ingredients mixed together, and then it'll be time to add it to your plate. So I love this dish, so I'll go ahead and give myself 2 nice helpings of risotto gumbo. Add a little bit of extra cheese. I like a little extra cheese. And just to top it off, I'll add a few green onions just because I love green onions. And there you have it, my risotto gumbo. Let's try it. Well, that is going to be all for today's show. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Before you head out, make sure you please subscribe, like, and share this video. I hope that you come back next week for another episode of Cooking with Bryan Dixon. Stay blessed, and I'll see you next time. Make sure you check out the link in the descriptions for all of my full recipes.